Well, Matt and Stacy, as you can see from the looks of it, this curb here is a recent addition. It was put in place temporarily during some construction on the parking lot. But Acme has moved to make it a permanent addition, heading to the City Council for a public hearing. Employees question their safety, including a bizarre event in which a couple had to be escorted out of the building by a sheriff's deputy. PD has responded to around 30 accidents at intersections on 32nd Avenue, with 11 happening just right here. Stacy, neighbors in this apartment building behind me here on 22nd Avenue South say they were woken up around 3 o'clock this morning when police arrived on scene. The City Council is meeting as we speak to discuss the rate increase. I spoke with one City Council member before the meeting who said as of right now, the increase and the amount is really up in the air. Residents who said that he's made claims of progress to the court, but they find that that's untrue, that this dumpster behind me here, he's been filling with trash during the day, only to come back later and remove it in the night. And now he has a 4-week extension to clean it up. Well, Stacy, the funds would be going towards the planned water treatment plant. It's a $130 million project. The state has secured $65 million in funding, but it means Grand Forks would be on the hook for the rest. If you've got a load of laundry or a car to clean, Tony Bizeski is your guy.
I've lived in Grand Forks all my life. I always liked this place, and when I seen it came up for sale, I thought it was an opportunity for me to go into business and be my own boss.
But being your own boss means footing the bill.
So many things that are digging into your profits, and you start to wonder.
Bizeski says the laundromat alone uses 153,000 gallons of water a month, so a rate increase could cut into revenue.
I've spent pretty much everything that I make on bringing this place up to date, and I'm not taking it out on the customers. I hear with the raising water, I'm like, well, what about all the years that they've been getting funds? I mean, was there any of that put aside? The city has planned for the project, putting aside some $4.5 million, though the sum seems a drop in the bucket, with around $60 million still needed. The City Council is also considering a sales tax increase, without which one council member says the utility rate could rise by double digits.
When you're talking property tax and sales tax and utility fees, it's really a large balancing act to fund not just the capital costs, but the ongoing operation and maintenance of the facility.
Bizeski says he sees the need for the plant, but he hopes it won't hit him or his customers too hard.
I kind of understand it in ways. I just hope it isn't going to skyrocket prices, so to speak. I really don't want to pass it on to my customers if I can help it. The City Council is meeting as we speak to discuss the rate increase. I spoke with one City Council member before the meeting who said as of right now, the increase and the amount is really up in the air. Meetings will be held throughout the summer, but the final amount really won't be known until the budget is voted on and turning it into something very special.
And I remember the day I told my dad that I'm not going to be a farmer.
After half a century of teaching at UND, Gordon Seminger has a story to tell, and that's where Aaron Phillips and Chuck Haga come in.
I think what the project shows is that there are a lot of really fascinating, interesting, accomplished, and promising people in this community. And we ought to feel good about that.
The pair is working on the We Are Grand Forks project, interviewing people they know or passerby on the street, not seeing strangers, but stories.
We spend a lot of time just sort of trolling, we call it, kind of walking either through downtown or, today we're on campus, looking for people that might have an interesting story to tell, and everybody does, so it's interesting to see what we get.
Phillips spends most days doing portrait photography, but she says the project has reignited a passion.
Kind of where my heart lies, the photojournalism aspect and hearing people's stories. It was like riding a bike. I love it.
But for Haga, a longtime newspaper man, he says parts of the job are still hard.
I'm used to sticking my nose in other people's business. I've done it for half a century, so that's not so hard for me. The hard part is getting them to trust me enough to open up and tell me things that matter to them and who they are, especially knowing that I'm not going to be able to tell their whole story.
If there's a lesson to be learned from this project, take it from the longest-running professor UND has.
Make the world a better place when you leave than it was when you came into it.
The photographs and stories from the project can be found on our website, WDAZ.com. The pair says they post a new story every Wednesday and Saturday, and I was able to listen as they interviewed an athlete and a devout Christian student. Certainly some very interesting stories ahead.